our 2025 Ducati V4 Panigale. It cost me about $40,000 recently, and today we've got around $6,000 worth of incredibly gorgeous parts from the homies at Home Gear. The kicker is I'm completely unqualified, never worked on something so expensive, so new, or Italian. So we are gonna fumble our way through this together. Come over here and I'll show you the parts we've got. But before I do that, take a moment now, hit that red button, subscribe to the channel. It is the #1 way you can support us. Anyway, let's run you through what we got.
Okay, now Hurdle Gear were the perfect people to partner with for our build because they have got an insane range, over 100,000 different products for a whole bunch of motorcycles, whether it be the Jap sports bikes, the European stuff like this, and they have heaps of stuff on the shelf and a really handy website. So jump on their website and check them out. This gear is insane. It was hard to get because the entirety of Europe and Italy shut down for the entire month of August. Don't ask me why, I'm freaking jealous. We've got Bonamici Racing Fuel Cap. Is gonna make it a massive aesthetic difference. We've got the Rizoma Stealth mirrors. You will not believe how good they look. We've got the Evotech full length folding levers and Bonamici Billet Racing rear sets, which for taller riders, very good because you get a little bit of adjustability. Plus, we're gonna get rid of a little bit of that sort of silver cast off the bike, get some nice black billet stuff going on. But the adjustability is what we're really going for here. We also recently got sent something really nice, which is this guy back here. Now, I have always loved the Ruroc helmets, and they were nice enough to send us out one of their brand new AT 4.0 track helmets. This thing is so aggressive and gorgeous. Raw carbon with some painted accents. I think it really suits the Ducati well. So that is super sick to have. Really pumped on that. Let's quickly run you through the price of everything because I know you guys are gonna be pretty interested, I think, in that. The bike's base cost on road was $38,800. We then did full PPF with bush wraps in a previous episode. I think that was gonna be around $4,000. We have done the Futurismoto tail tidy, that was $600. And we've done the caliper spacers, they were $50. That's what we've done so far. Today's episode, I've got the price breakdown here for you guys because we like transparency on this channel and also bike is expensive. The Bonamici rear sets, $2,000. We've got the stealth mirrors, $1,550. We've got the levers, $350, and we have got the aluminium racing fuel cap, $285. Don't quote me on the helmet. I cannot remember. I think it's around $1,100. Overall, it's like $6 grand worth of stuff, I think. I don't know, I'm not good at maths, but that's ridiculous. And yeah, this is getting expensive. I don't know how to fit any of this shit. So fingers crossed today goes smoothly. We've got all the SP tools in the world. How hard can it be? Let's dive in. Okay, for this first part, we're starting simple. I've watched a couple of little videos from Bonamici on how to install these rear sets. There's a fair bit more to it than what Daddy thought. Certainly might need a little motorbike princess to help me, but we will figure that out as we go. So we're gonna start with the simple shit. It's gonna be our Bonamici racing fuel cap and then probably the Rizoma mirrors, then levers, then rear sets, if I feel so inclined. It is fairly simple. These are ugly, but secure. Fuel caps on pretty much every car and bike you need a key to open. Obviously, if you were gonna be, I guess, commuting on your bike and riding it every day and beating on it, you probably do want to have a secure fuel cap, but on something that is so bespoke and unique and expensive and sexy and not really going to get ridden heaps, or at least, you know, not going to be like parked out on the street for 8 hours while I go into an office building to work sort of thing, this is fine. Your standard sort of fuel cap is, you know, big cast and kind of ugly. We're replacing it with a much lighter, much sexier aluminium billet black, basically a racing fuel cap, which is going to then have just a quick release fuel cap, I guess, the actual part. So the ring is nice and billet. That's just a quick release piece that's gonna go in and out. Super simple to fill this thing up. Do away with needing the key for fuel and that kind of thing. It's a little bit involved, the install process, mostly because you just have to be careful. If you drop a 4mm Allen key in your tank, it is, and I can't stress you enough, game over. You are pulling the tank out of this thing and starting from scratch. So we're gonna be pretty careful with the tools we use. The SP Tools like bit set is probably gonna be our best friend today. We're using their little mini ratchet, which is reversible, which is super nice. And then this bit set, which locks onto the bits. So it's going to allow us to ratchet off all these Allen keys. So I guess, without further ado, this can stay here and I can hook in and hope for the best. Great success. That was super easy, and like the way it releases and the way it locks in is so nice. And that little bit of black billet bouncing off the other black parts, especially when we fit those Rizoma Stealth mirrors and stuff, it's just slowly gonna start tying everything in. Anyway, next up I think we tackle the mirrors, because these are so ugly. And we're actually lucky here in Australia because I guess it's a state or a country by country thing. America has the indicators actually in these mirrors because of their laws and regulations and stuff, which is super shit. Whereas ours are actually built into the DRLs at the front of the bike. So these are literally, there's no electronics in them or anything like that. We're gonna swap these out. It's literally two, I'm assuming, hex or Torx bits for each one, and we replace them with the Rizoma options, which are these. Make sure I grab the right one to show you guys. It is not that one. So these are the Rizoma Stealth mirrors, an extremely expensive, well worth gorgeous product. These are fucking insanely good looking and well built. These will basically mount under here and act as two things. For starters, Rizoma claim that these actually can aid and assist in downforce of the bike over, 150 miles an hour or something like that. Whether you're ever gonna feel that on a bike that's ridden on the street, probably not. But what's cool is that it does sort of add to the aero look of the bike, because we've got these big winglets on the front, but you can't delete your mirrors altogether because the police will bend you over and put their baton in your butt. So the cool thing is with that is it looks like a wing, it's all billet, it's beautiful, it's black, and then you can rotate that. Once we peel that protective coating off, you've actually got a mirror that you'll be able to use at least a little bit. So they can't say you don't have a mirror. You've got mirrors, you also have little winglets, and it's about the least obtrusive option possible on the market. Very hard to get your hands on, but hurdle gear if you do want them. There's a little bit of adhesive left over, as you can see. Something like the Chemical Guys Invisible Cleaner is going to be perfect for getting that off. So just get that little spray, let it sit for 2 seconds, and then we'll wipe it with our microfiber. Now the homies at Hurdle Gear have also sent us out a set of the EvoTech Performance folding levers. We have got brake and we have got clutch. Now, fairly simple to install if you sort of know what you're doing. There's a couple of little bits and pieces. Obviously there's like master cylinders up on the handlebars here, so you have to be a little bit careful. There's dust boots and little rods and stuff that go into the plunger. So it definitely pays to do a little bit of research before you go and ripping these things off. But these are super nice. They are an incredibly beautiful sort of brushed black finish, and they fold like that. So in the event of dropping the bike, crashing on the track or out of the street and that sort of thing, they should fold up out of the way. They're not going to dig into the road, grind off, snap, or that sort of thing. And you also have a whole lot more adjustment here, which I really like, because a lot of the time there is a little bit of adjustment on factory levers, but it's a tiny little dial. Even if you're riding and you've got gloves, this is a really nice tactile, easy to grab thing, even if you've got a leather glove on. So super sick, love that. And a little bit of red bling to go with the theme of the bike, I think is a really nice thing as well. Sort of lacking it at the moment. So let's rip these on and start with the brake. Okay, so this is probably the biggest ticket item we've got. It's about $2,000 for a set of these incredible made in Italy Bonamici Racing billet rear sets. Now, if you're watching this and you're not a bike person, there's probably a very small percentage of you guys, but a rear set is basically your foot pegs, pretty much, where your feet go on a bike. But integrated into them is a whole bunch of stuff like your shifter for the clutch and the gears, and then obviously your rear brake is on your right foot. So by swapping to something like this from the Bonamici, you can see on the backside all these holes. That basically means you can adjust a whole bunch of the componentry to suit your height, your riding style, how aggressive you want the bike to be set up, how much lean angle you want to achieve, and that sort of thing. You can get carbon heel guards like this. The Bonamici stuff comes with the billet ones, which I think is really nice. And it's going to be a massive improvement over the silver stuff that is on the bike. Now, I estimated that I've underestimated the effort levels required to do this job and how much of the brand new bike I have to pull apart. So this is probably going to be a cluster. We've got to pull both side fairings off. We've got to undo side stand switch. I've got to pull a whole bunch of shit off. I've got to pull shifter linkages off. I've got to pull brake master cylinders off. There's a bit involved here. This is not something I would ever normally try to do myself, but it's one of those things where I kind of want to try. At least it's all new parts and it's a new bike. So in terms of hardware, we're not going to come into any dramas with, cross-threaded or rusty or damaged bolts and stuff like that. So in terms of learning our way through a project, this is about as nice a way as you're going to get it done. We've got some really aggressive, foot pegs. So you'll notice you can get foot pegs in a whole bunch of different, coarsenesses is probably the only way I can describe it. What's on there is fairly non-aggressive. Whereas this is a lot more like a cheese grater, so you're gonna get a lot more grip out of your race boot. Or for you cafe racing people that want to wear your leather loafers to the cafe on the weekend, this is a good bit of kit too. You've got your rubberized shifter so you don't damage your shoes and your stuff like that. Look, it's all fairly simple. It is just nuts and bolts. They come sort of, pre-assembled relatively. Pretty much all this hardware is going to need Loctite. We're using medium thread Loctite so that it is resistant to coming loose and is semi-permanent but can still be undone where necessary, because obviously for serviceability that's what you want. And Bonamici have got some very good videos on their website of the steps needed to pull this all apart. So I think we're going to start on the shifter, the gear side is going to be a little bit easier, I think. And then we'll move on to the right-hand side because we've got to pull exhaust shields off, heat shields off the master or the slave. There's a bit involved. Anyway, fuck around, find out. Okay, cool cats and kittens. What we're looking at is the side of a bike that I am not familiar with in the slightest, and I'm freaking the fuck out, to be honest. We have got to pull all this off. We've got to get in here. We've got to disconnect the side stand switch, and then we're gonna have to start pulling all this brackets and chain guard might have to go as well. There's quite a bit involved, to be honest, way more than I thought. But the end result is this is all going to be so much nicer. I think this, hopefully someone does a nice black billet one of those. But yeah, look, I'm just going to bring you guys along for the ride and we'll see what happens. Probably just be a whole lot of montage, and if there's dramas, then as we come across them, I'll talk to you about things. If you haven't already, subscribe, because that is the number one way to help me. In these times of crisis, the least you can do is subscribe. Anyway, let's. I do not know what I'm doing. This is the most thing I've ever done in my life. I don't know what I'm doing. I need help.
Many tutorials later.
Okay, this is a thing. This is what is hopefully going to allow us to shift. I think I've got it together right. I honestly don't really know. I think it's all together fairly loosely. Some stuff is together tight with Loctite, which is important because these V4s are a little rattly and shaky and vibraty. So we really want to make sure we're Loctiting everything. But I think we're going to run it in normal shift, not GP shift. The bike guys will know what I'm talking about. That is 1 down and 5 up instead of 1 up and 5 down, because it's a street bike, not a track bike. So I think we'll just tighten him up. So that is too long and has now scratched that, so that's sick. Nice, man, that's top G. Oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed.
Many more tutorials later.
Okay, that was probably the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life, but it was to be expected, I think. Like, there's a lot of parts, a lot of bolts, the first time I've ever pulled this bike apart, so it was fine. Bonamici rear set, clutch side, which I really thought was going to be the easier side, is now back together. I'm going to quickly whack this fairing together, and then I'll see you over there on the right-hand side. Okay, I am going to be the first person to admit that today got a little out of hand at some stages, as you probably saw. The first part of today was super simple. We've got these gorgeous Rizoma Stealth mirrors. These things are just an absolute work of art. They're, without a doubt, I think worth every single penny. We've got our Bonamici Racing aluminium racing fuel cap. We've got our Evotech Performance folding levers. And of course, the icing on the cake, our Bonamici Racing billet rear sets. These things are absolutely gorgeous. A little bit involved in fitting them for someone that's never done it before, but I mean, I had very basic tools and I am a bit of a monkey and we still got it done. And somehow the bike still works. The only thing worth noting, and I think this is I would love to say Bonamici must have mucked up their packaging, which they may have because there was an odd number of bolts, but I think we were missing the long bolt for our foot peg on the brake side here. So that guy's missing from there. Not really a big deal in the slightest. I'll just go and get a slightly longer bolt. We have got some others spare, but they're a little too short. But anyway, I'll go and find that. I'll sort that out another day, but you guys have seen this thing. It is absolutely a freaking work of art now. The tail tidy, the screen, the PPF, all these mods coming together. Hurdle Gear have been instrumental in us building this project. And the best part is we're doing it in stages. We've got a whole bunch more parts coming. And then I think it's only fair that very soon we void the warranty and throw a tune in it and an exhaust. See if I freaking care. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. A little bit of just tinkering in the shed, old school times. I'm a lot more comfortable, I think, pulling apart bikes than I am cars. Don't know why. Maybe because it's just cleaner work. Who knows? Anyway, hopefully you've loved this. Hopefully you're frothing this build. If you have, make sure you subscribe, drop a comment, make sure you like this video. And yeah, if you've got any suggestions on other mods you want to see us do to this thing, let us know in the comments. Anyway, we'll see you next Thursday.